Hello viewers, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are diving into a headline that is lighting up timelines and triggering intense debates across the internet. A self-proclaimed trendwife influencer shocked Piers Morgan and millions of viewers when she went on national TV to defend a white mother who allegedly called a 5-year-old black boy the N-word on a playground. Yes, you heard that right, and the fallout is being explosive. Social media is on fire with reactions from outrage to disbelief to those digging into the influencer's past, questioning her values, her motives, and the disturbing normalization of this kind of historic in certain circles. We are breaking down what really happened, the interview that gone viral, and how the internet is responding to this wave of model day controversy wrapped in vintage domestic ideas. Grab your tea, sit tight, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button because this is a story you need to hear.
Why would you want to support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in a country.
No, that's fine. You can support free speech, but you also have to be accountable for what you say. Would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would?
I do, quite frequently.
You use the N-word quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're a despicable racist. Are you?
Some would say I am. I guess according to the ADL, I'm a white supremacist. I'm a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, well, if you use the N-word repeatedly, you are a racist, then, are you?
Sure, I'll embrace that. If that means forwarding, helping white people achieve freedom of speech, real freedom of speech, which, by the way, Shiloh Hendricks is being attacked on all fronts. They're trying to bring legal charges against her. They're trying to get her children taken away. So you were saying Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't matter. That's a different.
Sorry, but just to be
thing.
clear, you just said to me you use the N-word regularly. In what context? Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate to use the N-word? When would it be appropriate?
Anytime I feel like it.
So you're an unashamed racist.
Correct.
Well, do you understand that makes you a despicable human being?
I guess so. I don't really care. I mean, why are we not talking about Shiloh Hendricks? Why are we talking about?
Well, actually, I think you've moved it on in this debate very quickly to your own racism, which explains why you've supported her in public and why you've got all these views. You see no problem with a woman shrieking the N-word repeatedly because you yourself are a despicable racist, and you've just proudly admitted that with a smug grin on your face, which is pretty horrifying, actually, for most people to have to watch. And shame on you. You're entitled to do it, and I'm entitled to call you despicable.
I think the problem with the internet is that people don't realize that, like, you could get hit. Like, this Lily Gaddis chick, the one that was on Piers Morgan defending Shiloh and saying that she frequently uses the N-word. I think the problem is that she doesn't think that she's going to catch hands. And I truly believe that if people thought that there was going to be physical repercussions for their actions more often, they would shut the fuck up.
Wasn't y'all following Lily Gaddis? Y'all know who Lily Gaddis is. She was that trad wife that was on here, cooking all the meals from scratch, quote unquote. And now she's on Piers Morgan saying that, hey, she is identifying as a pure racist, okay? She said she drops the N-bomb. Mind you, I'm black saying the N-bomb, N-word, N-bomb. But she says she drops it with or without context, okay? She drops it with no problem at all. And she said whenever it's appropriate. And not only that, but she's on Piers Morgan defending Shiloh Hendricks. And the guys that these racists are using is Carmelo Anthony and his story in regards to verbally attacking a 5-year-old with autism. The guys they're using is the Carmelo Anthony story and freedom of speech to attack a 5-year-old. So since the trad wife niche has flopped for her, she went on the Shiloh Hendricks train of, I gotta make some money. And what's the best way to do it in today's climate? be racist.
Do y'all remember that girl, Lily Gaddis? This girl right here? She went viral, I believe, a year ago. I did a whole video on it last year, but she went viral last year for using the N-word. And everybody, all the racists came out defending her, being like, she's not racist just because she used the word. Like, y'all are being dramatic. Like, she's not racist. Well, she was now on Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan, like, let her have it. Like, he ate her up. She literally admitted to Piers Morgan that she's racist. So everybody who sat here and said, she's not racist, yeah, why don't you go ahead and eat those words? Because she admitted it herself, baby. She admitted to being racist. She admitted to being a white supremacist. She said that she uses the N-word all the time, which I don't believe. She claims she uses it in front of black people, but I can tell you right now, that's a lie. She definitely just said that for TV, because if she would have said that in front of black people, I don't think she would still be standing. She said she's standing up for racism because she's trying to help white people achieve freedom of speech. What? Do racists not realize that you 100%, in this country anyway, you 100% can say whatever you want, but it doesn't matter what freedom of speech that you have. If you say something horrible, there are going to be consequences. That doesn't mean that you all of a sudden don't have freedom of speech just because there's consequences to your actions. Freedom of speech does not equate, we've said this so many times. Freedom of speech does not equate to freedom of consequences. Whether you're a child, whether you're an adult, it doesn't matter. There are always consequences to your actions. I just don't understand though why we're even giving her a platform. Like, she shouldn't even be on TV, period. She wants the attention and she wants to make money off of it. Stop giving her attention.
So I don't know why anyone is shocked by this, and I don't know why this is even making its rounds. This is the same lady who literally said the N-word. That's how she went viral. I forgot who she was. One of my mutuals brought it up. This is her? Oh, sorry, wrong. This is the same lady. She tried to build the whole career off of this. She tried to build a platform off of saying the N-word. People didn't like her because racists are so racist that they saw that she might potentially be Jewish, and they got even more racist towards her. Thus, she couldn't get her career off the ground. The cultural shift is definitely there because now she's not being bombarded with anti-Semitic things or being called a mud shark anymore. Mud shark is like a derogatory word for like white people who sleep with people of color, essentially. But yeah, continue to let her be irrelevant. She's trying to build something off of this. She's bragging about it on Twitter because her only two platforms that have any clout are Twitter with 200,000 followers and Rumble. Her TikTok is non-existent and her YouTube channel only has like 4,000 subscribers. So just keep her in her little insular community. Don't let her become like a brand name. Her being on the Piers Morgan show is probably going to be the biggest thing that ever happened in her life. Only if you guys let it be something more than that, then it'll become something more.
Now, this woman's talking about free speech to say what she absolutely wants. Now, basically, the backstory of this is there was a clip going around about a white woman who was calling a black child the N-word, yeah? And she got filmed and shamed and whatever else. Now, this woman now comes on Piers Morgan show, has been given a platform to come and say everything she said. Now, if you want to know what she says, I suggest you go and watch that video. And to be fair, all what she's saying is foolishness. Now, she's basically talking about freedom of speech. The freedom of speech is to be able to say the N-word whenever you want. Now, I'm just going to be real with you. Freedom of speech is one thing, yeah? I can agree, everybody should have freedom of speech. But you see, when it comes to hate speech, speech that is hateful or degrading to a certain culture or race of people, that is not freedom of speech. That is freedom for you to exercise your white supremacist background, yeah? And she even goes on to call herself a neo-Nazi and a white supremacist and all of these other things. Now, she's basically saying that she's using the N-word, and very, very regularly. Now, and there's people like this, yeah, that would say, oh, freedom of speech, until you get a box down from a real black person that you're going to call a nigger, whether it's a woman or a man, you think you're going to call them a nigger, and then try to call the police to run for help, and then get a nigger killed, yeah? All on the hands because you want to call somebody a nigger when you know it's hate speech. Now, we're living in 2025. This ain't the 1920s, the 30s, or the 50s, or the 60s. We, people, will fuck you up. So, listen, just know, stop with the hate speech, because you might say that word to the wrong person. And I'm guarantee you, people like that usually do. That's how it goes. You say that word to the wrong person, and next minute, you know, you're laid out, KO'd on the floor. So all I'm saying is people need to take heed. This is 2025. Right now, there's a black man also up for charges for killing a police officer. From what I don't know the full story, if it's the actual officer that killed his child, but he took a stance, and I'm not agreeing with what he did. But you know what they say? These people love to draw for the Bible when it comes to their wars and whatnot. In the Bible, it also says an eye for an eye. So, you know, we could all agree to disagree. You touch one, you touch all. So at the end of the day, if they think this is the 1920s, keep playing with people like me. Keep playing with us, because it's not the time. It's not the year. Yeah. And we ain't them black folk. We really ain't sure ain't them black folk from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, or 50s. So keep playing with us.
Man, yo. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. So since I'm over here, you know, making videos and bringing awareness about predators of children and adults, abusers and stuff, and I'm trying to bring that to light. I mean, I brought my predator, my abuser out to light in front, right? And you know, it doesn't just stop there. We have to give negativity the light it deserves. Meaning, we're not gonna just, you know, give negativity a platform and say, hey, go ahead and rock all the way. No, we're gonna give you a platform and say, hey, look at this ignorance. Look at this ignorance right here. This is what we're talking about. This ignorance right here, we don't like it. And this ignorance right here makes people like us feel crazy. And this ignorance right here gets away with a lot of shit. And you know what I'm gonna do, God? I'm gonna bring it to light, because my positivity and what I'm fighting for, I know you got my back, God. Because it ain't this. It ain't hate for someone's color. It ain't hate because they're disabled. It ain't hate because you don't love them, God. This isn't by you. So I give everything to you, God, and I give me the strength to bring it to light. Because I'm done with I'm tired of, like, even my friends tell me, Jesus, you know, racism isn't that bad. Racism isn't that bad. Bro, it's been like this since I was 6. Unfortunately, you lived in a small town that you didn't get to experience that. I did. I got to see the tail end of what was horrible of the back then. So before anybody comes to me and starts telling me, oh, well, you know what, Jesus, it's still not that bad and stuff. Cool. This is what we're going to do now, people. Everybody. If you have a pedophile in your fucking family, friends, group, they need to be outed. If you have a racist in your fucking family or group or whatever, they need to be outed. And not outed to where it's just like, oh, they're shunned or anything, but more of, say it with your chest then. If that's who you are, then fucking show me who you are. Because I know a lot of motherfuckers, especially in the valley, y'all valley fuckers, y'all are so motherfucking racist to each other and to other people. And it's not even just the valley, but I'm fucking bringing the valley because guess what? I was told I don't know anything about it. Nah, fuck that. I know a lot of motherfuckers. Y'all let me in your brain and I've seen you. I saw it. I've even fucking dwelled in it and I was just like, yo, this isn't me. This isn't me. Which is why I've removed myself from that shit. Y'all real slick, man. These, like, we have people out here just telling people that they're fucking racist now. Like, and we're supposed to be okay with it. Where I'm supposed to be okay. I'm supposed to not live in fear the way I live in fear. But yet I get questioned, oh, where you from? Dude, I even get profiled. People call me Jose. I fucking tell them, dude, you profiled me and you're racist. That's not even how you say my name in Spanish. But yet, I go through this shit every day. Where you from? Nah, where you really from? I go through it every day. So just because you don't take that shit away from anybody else. Now we have a real life racist. Well, not even a real life racist. We have racists out here. And now what we're going to do, and what we all need to do, is just fucking put them on blast. Not even put them on blast, but more like, hey, this is who you are. And this is how we see you. So don't fucking preach to us that you love God and you're there for the people when you don't even fucking follow God. I don't know what y'all are doing, man. All this is not right. So I pray, and I pray to God, God, take care of this. Give me the strength to have all this darkness and use it for positivity. If I say a message wrong, please correct me. Have someone correct me. And we'll keep learning, because this isn't right, God. This is not right. This isn't right, people.
That white lady got on Piers Morgan's show and said, in defense of Shiloh, she's not only going to say the N-word, but she's been saying the N-word. And it's freedom of speech. And that it's just a word. I made a post yesterday, and I said white people will never feel racism. And it hasn't even been 24 hours. And my points are already being proven in real time. White people will never know what racism feels like, because they can openly just call somebody the N-word and say, oh, well, it's freedom of speech. Yeah, but you don't know why that word was created and why people use the word now because it's been reclaimed, and why you shouldn't use it because it was used against us. So you don't know what racism feels like. Therefore, you can't feel it. And to that white lady that got on that goddamn TV show and said, I'm going to use the N-word, use it. Use the N-word. Keep using it. I want you to use it like it is second nature to you. Because your digital footprint and your motherfucking character is going to show.
Well, before I get into this, I want to talk about the difference between prejudice and racism. Okay? Prejudice, simply put, is an unfair feeling or dislike of a person or group based on race, sex, religion, etc. Now racism is when prejudice, whether individual or institutionalized, is accompanied by the power to discriminate against, oppress, or limit the rights of others. So getting back to this young man's video, white people have never and will never know racism. Why? Because they are in the position, whether individually or institutionally, to discriminate based on the power that they have, whether it be economic, So most of them won't ever. But see, the reason why I am not overly incensed by this woman calling a child the N-word is because, regrettably, we've taken the sting out of it because we use it so frequently ourselves. Now, I understand the difference between A versus hard R, but they look at it indiscriminately. I don't know if they can't pronounce it or it's just intentional. I really don't care. But see, the difference is, the reason why I'm not incensed is because all it takes is for her to come across the right person. Say, for instance, she came across me and I was in the presence. Say, for instance, I was that gentleman who was recording it. Like in the movie Sinners, I wouldn't have been, like, oh my God, I can't believe you did. I would say, your mama. That's what I would. Your mama is. Then she would have been shocked. But see, here's the thing. I grew up whereas we played the dozens. If you don't know what that is, look it up. When you're playing dozens, the quickest comeback is your mama. Did y'all see the movie Sinners? They had some names for white folk in the movie. I would be using them all. She wouldn't say the hard R to me. I would have unloaded on her. I would have made her so mad, she would have wanted to fight me. Because it's free. She would have said, free speech? You sure right. And here's some free speech for you. I would have said peckerwood. I would have said cracker. I would have said pole white. Hypothetically. I would have said all of it. Because it's free speech, right? Now, I don't go looking for nothing. But if she would have felt so emboldened to do that in my presence, I would have felt just as bold to say those examples I gave you. Free speech, right? Goes both ways. Now, I don't feel that in my heart. But if you could go there, I can go there. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Take that with you.
Okay, that is not about free speech. That is about racism and oppressing a class of people that you think is less than you. Mind you, you were at a public park sharing an outdoor public facility with people for the general public, which means you're the general public, not the elite, not rich, nothing. You could go ahead and raise money, raise $1 million until you're fucking Elon Musk, but you never will be. And also too, your people came here on like the Santa Maria, the Mayflower, and whatever fucking other boat that was, and you had people here captive, and you abused them because you had no skills. The only skills your race has is oppressing other people and breaking the backs of other people for your own benefit. And we've seen that today with you going ahead and you're raising $1 million. You somehow figured out that if you can talk to a lot of other like-minded, stupid-ass piece of shit, white trash, probably not even blue-collar workers, I mean, they're probably making less money than all of it because we're in California here, okay? But on top of that, like, when you people showed up here, you were not the original cowboys, okay? It was a band of black men that were probably slaves, and then you had the Spanish and the Mexicans, the vaqueros, that taught you how to go ahead and run and do this shit, because this was Mexico first, okay? That Gulf of America isn't Gulf of America, it's Gulf of Mexico. It's this color. And you could go ahead and spray that orange fascist spray tan on you, but you can't step in the sun and be beautiful. You'll get skin cancer. And me, as a proud Mexican that knows my roots are actually indigenous to this land, that we are the people, the children of the sun, and you guys come here and you forget and you brainwash your own selves that you are the immigrants here. You need to go back across the pond. Because when you guys showed up here, you weren't the best people either. You came here with your Bibles and you called people savages, but you guys came and brought disease, famine, didn't know how to take care of the land. What else has gone wrong? This land is ours. It is not yours. You guys are going after the wrong migrants because we have always been here. We belong to this land. This is our land. It'll never be yours. It is in our blood. It is our blood right. It is our spirit. California was named after an African queen. It ain't about you. Look at the street names. Look at the name of the states. They ain't white names. You didn't even come here. You didn't even arrive with culture. You stole the cowboy way. And then you said, let's brand that like your red hats. America first. MAGA. Cowboys, Mexican. Black people. They knew how to ride. They knew how to shoot. They knew how to hunt. And we know how to survive. You're lucky it wasn't a Mexican. You're lucky it wasn't a Mexican mom. She would have nailed your ass with that chancla from fucking 200 yards away. You would have got it. All I gotta say, America's got a lot of eyes on you, and I remember when I seen this story break and I seen you talk right now with him, you know, it reminded me of Casey Anthony. You ain't gonna be able to go anywhere for a long time. People are gonna be after you. Hope it was worth $1 million. And you know what? It's gonna be a lot of like lawyer fees. And if that person goes and gets sued, there's something called You're just as dumb as Elon Musk. You thought you got a little bit of money. You thought you were one of the mega billionaires. That money's not going to last you, girlfriend, because people are going to get pissed at you and they're going to boycott your ass too. You ain't going to get no job. That $1 million ain't going to last. I'm pretty sure you don't know how to balance a checkbook. If Elon Musk is losing out on deals, you're going to lose out on deals too. Oh, I know though. You'll probably be Trump's like next press secretary, because that's glamorous. And you're getting mad that a little boy supposedly went through like your stuff. Isn't it like your class? Isn't it your race right now in the rich, privileged people that are like stealing money out of American accounts, stealing money out of medical programs, defunding cancer programs, defunding programs for kids, defunding affordable housing, defunding education, which you highly need, defunding everything, girl, everything. And then you're just walking in there like fucking queen blonde bimbo, talking about how it's free speech. You know what else is going to be free speech? A lot of...
Let's get straight into it. A trade wife influencer, someone who promotes traditional gender roles, domestic femininity, and conservative values, recently stunned both viewers and Piers Morgan himself when she publicly defended a white mother who allegedly called a 5-year-old black boy the N-word on a playground. Yes, that is the situation. Now let's unpack what this actually means and why it triggers such intense backlash online. First, let's establish the facts. The incident reportedly occurred on a school playground where a white mother allegedly directed a racial slur, the N-word, toward a 5-year-old child. That alone is disturbing enough to spark outrage. We are talking about a child barely in kindergarten being subjected to one of the most violent and dehumanizing slur in history. But instead of universal condemnation, what we saw was a public figure, this trade wife influencer, come forward not to denounce racism, not to express concern for the trauma inflicted on a child, but to defend the woman accused of using the slur on national TV with a straight face. And let's be clear, she wasn't justifying it with nuisance or talking about due process. She went as far as to minimize the offense, shifting blame and painting the white mother as the real victim in the situation. That is when Piers Morgan, known for being bold and often controversial himself, appeared visibly shocked. Now, when Piers Morgan is the voice of reason in the room, you know something has gone horribly wrong. This moment speaks volumes about how deeply racial biases and selective morality are embedded in certain ideological burdens, because it wasn't just one woman defending this behavior. Her words echo a broader sentiment that some corners of the internet are disturbingly comfortable with. The idea that racism is somehow excusable or at least forgivable if it comes from someone who fits a certain mood. Let's talk about the Treadwife brand for a second. It's a lifestyle that glamorizes 1950s style demonstratives, thinking, baking pies, submissiveness, feminine modesty, and total devotion to a husband. At surface level, it's marketed as wholesome and logistical, but often looking beneath that perfectly curated artistics is a disturbing undercurrent of escalatory thinking, where whiteness, traditionalism, and moral superiority go hand in hand, not always but often enough that we should be paying attention. So when a Treadwife influencer uses her platform not to uphold traditional values like kindness or decency, but to defend a grown woman who allegedly used a racial slur against a child, it reveals the contradiction at the heart of the movement. You can't preach about family values while ignoring the humanity of someone else's child. You can't trap bigotry in an apron and call it virtue. Now, let's talk about the public response, because the internet did not let this slide. Within hours of the interview, clips went viral. People on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok were outraged. Influencers, educators, and even fellow conversatives spoke out, saying this crosses a line. And here's the thing. When even your ideological allies are saying you have gone too far, it's time to reassess. Some accuse her of racial gaslighting, minimizing racism while centering white discomfort. Others call her dangerous, pointing out how her historic embodies people who already feel justified in their prejudice. But then, of course, came the defenders. Comment pour in claiming free speech, cancel culture, and context matters. But what context makes it okay to slur at a 5-year-old? What moral gymnastics are required to twist that into a teachable moment about defending white women from criticism? Let's be absolutely clear here. Defending the indefensible is choice, and that choice reflects your values. What is perhaps even more frustrating is the pattern we are seeing, where public figures say something outrageous, spark a reaction, and then lean into the controversy for engagement. Is the outrage economy at work? The influencer gains followers, the interview gets clicks, the platform profits, but at what cost? A child was dehumanized. A national conversation about racism got turned into a performance, and yet another media circle centered whiteness, not the trauma of the black child involved, not the long-term impact of racial slur on developing minds, but the discomfort of a white mom and her trad wife defender. That is the real story here. The shifting of sympathy, the reframing of villain and victims, and it happens subtle that if you are not paying attention, you might miss it. But black parents doesn't miss it. People of color doesn't miss it because this isn't new. It's a pattern as old as America itself, where whiteness gets the benefit of the doubt and everyone else gets the burden of proof. Now let's address something even deeper, the role of influence. This woman isn't just a random commenter, she is a content creator with platform, a voice, a reach, and she's using that platform to normalize racism under the guise of femininity and traditional values. And that is dangerous because while she may present herself as a soft-spoken or gentle, the message she spreading isn't harmless, it's harmful, it's erasing accountability, it's excusing prejudice and telling her audience, many of whom are young women, that this kind of thinking is okay. That is what it means to be traditional. But tradition without empathy is just logical. For a time when other people had fewer rights. And for anyone thinking, well, she entitled to her opinion, sure, but the freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. And when your opinion defends racism against a child, you deserve pushback. You deserve to be challenged because the stakes are too high to stay silent. Now let's imagine just for a moment if the roles were reversed. If a black mother had called a white child a racial slur, do we really think the third wife influencer would be on national TV, television defending her? Would people be crying about counseling culture, or would there be collective outcry demanding accountability, punishment, and public shame? That is the double standard. That is the hypocrisy. That is the problem. This moment isn't just about one influencer or one outrageous statement. It's about what kind of society we are building, what we are willing to tolerate, what we are teaching our kids. Because when you defend racism, you don't just harm the target, you poison the culture. You make it harder for the next king to be protected. You normalize hate under the banner of opinion. So what should we take away from all this? First, we need to stop giving platforms to people who use their influence to excuse harm. If your brand depends on minimizing racism, your brand is broken. Second, we need to hold our thought leaders to a higher standard, especially those who claim to represent morality, family, and tradition, because values without integrity are just a performance. And third, we need to remember the heart of the story, a 5-year-old boy who was subjected to a war that no child should ever hear. That child deserves more than to be a footnote in someone's controversy. He deserves protection. He deserves justice. He deserves a society that sees him as a child first, not a threat. Let's do better. Let's demand better. And let's not let soft voices lure us into accepting hard truths. That is all for today. If you found this commentary valuable, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns on stories that actually matter. Until next time, stay informed and stay human.